Have you ever thought about your body as this incredible, finely tuned orchestra perfectly playing the symphony of a menstrual cycle every single month? It's amazing, right? But what happens when science steps in to be the conductor? Well, that's what we're diving into today, exploring two incredible paths one body can take, the natural cycle and the precisely guided journey of IVF.
So how exactly does IVF work its hormonal magic? It's this fascinating process that works with the body's own signals, but just, turns up the volume a little. Let's get into it and see how it all comes together. Okay, so the biggest difference between these two journeys really boils down to this one thing. In a natural cycle, the body puts all of its energy into creating one perfect egg. It's like a solo performance. IVF, on the other hand, is trying to create a whole chorus of eggs to give the best possible odds. And that single change in strategy, it shapes absolutely everything that follows. So how do we go from that one solo performer to an entire chorus? It all starts right at the beginning, with the very first step, growing the eggs. The first key player on our stage is a hormone called follicle-stimulating hormone, or FSH for short. You can think of it as the starting gun for a race. This hormone gets sent from the brain, and it's the signal that tells the ovaries, all right, it's time to get ready, let's start growing some eggs.
And this is where the two paths really start to look different. Naturally, your brain sends out a really gentle, fluctuating level of FSH, just enough for one little follicle to take the lead and become the star. But in IVF, injections provide a high, steady level of that exact same hormone. This basically overrides the body's normal selection process and tells all of those little follicles, hey, you're all winners, let's all grow together.
Now, this might sound complicated, but it's actually a pretty elegant system. The daily injections give that constant encouragement, the frequent monitoring with ultrasounds and blood tests make sure everything's on the right track, and the goal is simple, to get a whole group of mature eggs all heading toward the finish line at the same time. Okay, so the eggs are growing, they're looking great, they're almost ready. But getting them to mature at the perfect time is absolutely everything. This next step is all about the trigger. It's about timing the main event just right. In a natural cycle, the body has its own built-in trigger. It's called the LH surge. It's this really sudden, sharp spike in another hormone, luteinizing hormone, that is the final spontaneous signal. It's basically the body's way of shouting, it's go time, and then ovulation happens about 24 to 36 hours later. But with IVF, you can't leave that critical timing to chance, right? Especially with so many eggs in the running. So instead of waiting for a spontaneous surge, a precisely timed trigger shot is used. This medication, usually something called HGC, does the exact same job as the natural LH surge. It's the final signal for maturation. The key difference here? Total control. And that control is what makes the whole egg retrieval process possible. You can think of the trigger shot like a conductor tapping their baton, making sure every single egg is perfectly in sync and ready for its big moment at the exact same time. So, the eggs are mature, they're ready for their debut. But while all of that has been happening, another really crucial preparation has been going on in the background, getting the nest ready for a potential arrival. And the hormone in charge of all that interior design is progesterone. Its name literally means progestation, and that's its whole job. To build up a thick, cushy, nutrient-rich uterine lining that's the perfect welcoming environment for an embryo to implant and get cozy. Now, naturally, after an egg is released, the follicle it came from transforms into this tiny hormone factory called the corpus luteum, which pumps out all the progesterone you need. But here's the thing with IVF. The egg retrieval procedure itself, where the eggs are collected right from the follicles, kind of disrupts that little factory. So the body needs a bit of help. Progesterone is given as a supplement to make absolutely sure the uterine lining gets everything it needs to be ready. And that brings us to our last section. How does all of this actually feel? Because behind all of this incredible science, there's a real human experience. So let's talk about the physical and emotional side of this journey. Because the hormone levels in IVF are higher than what your body is typically used to, it's really common to feel some side effects. Things like bloating, breast tenderness, headaches, and, mood swings are all pretty typical. It's just the body's natural response to that high and steady stream of hormones we were talking about earlier. Emotionally, it can definitely feel like a bit of a roller coaster. I mean, think about it. The hormone levels are amplified, so it's completely understandable to feel more reactive or sensitive. For some people, it can feel like a really intense case of PMS. The most important thing is just knowing that this is a normal part of the process for a lot of people. But here's the crucial point. These side effects are temporary. They're a direct result of the medication doing its job, and your clinical team is watching over you every single step of the way to make sure you're safe and supported.
So when you really step back and look at the big picture, IVF isn't replacing the body's natural wisdom. It's partnering with it. It takes that brilliant, intricate natural process and just optimizes it with scientific precision and control to really maximize the chances of success.
It's really an incredible partnership between our own biology and human ingenuity. It kind of makes you wonder, doesn't it? By understanding these hormonal pathways so deeply, what other parts of our health might we be able to support and optimize in the future? Now, just a quick reminder, this whole discussion has been for educational purposes only and is definitely not a substitute for professional medical advice. For more information on the complete IVF process, you can visit the portal at ivfforme.com.